Hello ladies and gentlemen, today is December 11th, 2015. My name is Jake Baldino. Welcome to the Untitled Friday gameranx cool news show thing. First and foremost, we have to talk about the giveaway we've been running for the last 2 weeks. I'm here to tell you guys the winners. Thank you so much to the insane amount of people that have entered. You're all really cool, but the winners are number 1, Cade with the YouTube username Shinshineko. Number 2, Rebecca with the username Rebecca-chan.
Ew, a girl.
And number 3, Majid with the username Majid0 Al Amari. Congratulations to you fine folks. You've won an Xbox One, a PS4, or a 3DS. Check your emails. I'm hitting you up, so you won some free shit. But let's get right into it now, starting off first and foremost with the NPD numbers for November 2015. The NPD, for those of you guys that don't know, are like the big top charts of all the selling games. Of course, though, just as a disclaimer, this only tracks physical retail sales, not digital sales. That being said, the numbers are pretty great. And the coolest part about it is that this has been the best November ever for the PS4, the Xbox One, and Nintendo. It's just interesting to take a look because the number 1 game is Call of Duty Black Ops 3, number 2 is Fallout 4, and number 3 is Battlefront. I thought Battlefront would be higher just because of the Star Wars hype, but I guess the gamers have spoken with all the microtransaction stuff and lack of content that, some of us aren't happy with. I thought Fallout 4 honestly was going to be the big guy, but number 2 is still really good for a game like that. If you think about it, it's just such a weird game, and the fact that it's number 2 on the charts, insane. Interestingly enough, Rise of the Tomb Raider didn't even crack the top 10. That kind of sucks because I really like that game, but apparently it only sold around 200,000 units. Of course, this probably chalks up to the fact that it was a Xbox One exclusive for the time being. And look, those exclusives are great sometimes because PS4 has them too, and I'm not criticizing those. But the problem with Tomb Raider is that it's always been multi-platform, and now that it's not, that affected it. And it really affected it. So I'm curious to see if these types of deals are going to go in the future because Tomb Raider is kind of the writing on the wall. And we talk about this stuff like the top 10 games, who cracked the top 10, who sold more PS4 versus Xbox One, but ultimately, and especially this month, you know who won? We did, people who play video games, because it has been a crazy month for releases. There are so many games, and I'm terrified to make my Game of the Year list. And just real quick, since I always like to talk about a little cool technology on this show, check out the Game Vice. This is a new controller used for the iPad and now the iPhone, and it is probably the slickest designed and nicest mobile controller that I can think of. It costs $100, and that's a little pricey, but it's collapsible, the buttons are high quality, and the joysticks are like almost real joysticks. This thing seems like it actually really makes your tablet or your phone into a good controller, and I'm all about that because I've always been searching for the best one, and this one likes it. I might pick one up. And the next thing I want to talk about, I'm actually kind of scared to talk about because it's a very divisive thing, and a lot of people are up in arms about it, and it's still all so confusing. At PSX last week, we got another look at the Final Fantasy VII new remake game, and the news came out from Square that this Final Fantasy VII game is going to be a multi-series, what the fuck do I even call it? An episodic multi-part series. What? There's a lot to unwrap here, and especially the fact that since we still don't know everything about it, this could be a million things. They said that each one is going to equal a full entire game, which honestly in 2015, I'm gonna say doesn't really mean much because we're getting a lot of games now that are pretty sparse on content and they're charging $60 for them. So honestly, when they do say that it is a full-length game, I don't know what to think. Is it an 8-hour game? Is it a 15 to 20-hour game? Or is it like the original Final Fantasy VII, which could take like 70 hours? The director of this new Final Fantasy VII said that they wanted to explore so much of the world of Final Fantasy VII that they couldn't contain it to one single game or one single disc. Which I think is really funny considering they've been making Final Fantasy 15 for what feels like 15-20 years now, and that's apparently going to be on one Blu-ray disc. But this new Final Fantasy VII, I'm asking who is this for? And maybe it's just Square experimenting more and more with how they put out their games and how they make money from them. Are they milking it? Are they milking this new Final Fantasy VII? Or are they making a bigger, fleshed out version of just regular classic Final Fantasy VII? Or is the first game going to be in Midgar, and then after that you leave Midgar and that's the second game? And are these going to be digital only, or are these going to be full games like how it's Final Fantasy 13, Final Fantasy 13-2, Final Fantasy 13-3, Lightning Returns? I still have so many questions about this, so I can't freak out totally yet. The one positive to this that I can immediately think of is maybe that means we'll be getting to play some of this sooner because it's going to be released episodically, so I don't know. I really don't know about any of this, but I do want to hear from you guys down in the comments. And just to follow up, remember a few shows back, I talked about that Star Wars Battlefront mod that made the game look totally realistic with an old 70s film grain and more detail? Well, we've got some 4K 1080p footage of it from the YouTube account JaxFrags, and it looks insane. I was almost crying watching this. I linked that in the description below as well as everything else I talk about today. And speaking of Star Wars, oh my god, apparently Star Wars 1313 isn't totally dead? In a conversation with Peter Soretta from /film, Kathleen Kennedy, the producer behind Lucasfilm and basically one of the people most responsible for the new Star Wars movie, talked about other avenues and how they're exploring the Star Wars universe, and she actually brought up the canceled 1313. After bringing it up and talking about the concepts and the concept art for it that looked absolutely unbelievable, she went on to say, "Our attitude is we don't want to throw any of that stuff away. It's gold, and it's something we're spending a lot of time looking at, pouring through, discussing, and we may very well develop those things further. We definitely want to." I know you could totally take that with a grain of salt and it's just a very small snippet of a conversation, but that is something. That is cool. Even if they just take elements from 1313 and use it in a new Star Wars game project, which we know they're working on, sign me up. That's great. And every week when I like to just show you guys stupid bullshit, I swear to God, and I called it, Just Cause 3 is going to be the new gift that keeps on giving. Gift, pun intended. No, I have no friends. Reddit user Lionhearth21 posted this awesome gift. I love it so much. I think every week from now until forever, we can find something stupid and ridiculous from Just Cause 3. And speaking of crazy and ridiculous things, we got to look at a new trailer for XCOM 2, and now I am totally on board for this game. The trailer was totally insane. At first, I wasn't really into their crazy change of style and how the game looks, but now I can't get enough of it. It looks totally awesome and crazy and insane. And not to mention, look at the cover art. That is creepy. And now with this next thing, we can kind of take a look into how things could have been with this really cool take on Fallout 4 with an isometric view like the original Fallout games. Sayavesh over at NeoGaf posted these awesome screenshots that are just cleverly arranged to make the game look like it has an isometric point of view. And I can't get enough of it. It's just a really clever angle and way to take screenshots because the level design isn't designed to be isometric, but it just so happens to look that way. Nice going. And before I go, guys, let's talk about another giveaway because I want to keep these going, okay? The mailing list that some of you signed up for to enter the last giveaway, well, I linked that down below. If you haven't hopped on it, you should, because what we're going to do now, every single week, we're going to go into that mailing list and randomly choose one person to win a game of your choice. So all you really got to do is be a member of the gameranx club. We're not going to spam you with a bunch of newsletters or anything, but if you're in there, you're sitting in there, you can win a free game anytime. I guess I'll announce a new winner every single week on the show from now. So you're welcome. Thank me later. You can thank me on Twitter if you follow me over there if you haven't already, or Facebook, or Instagram, or whatever, because we can talk about video games. And if you want, you can send me some links to some stories that you want to hear me talk about on the Friday show, because I am always open to suggestions. And speaking of talking to you guys, let's talk down in the comments. How do you feel about the stories going on this week? What do you guys think about Final Fantasy VII being split up? I really, honestly don't know what to think. And I want to hear from you guys instead of just angry people on Reddit message boards. And also, let's just use this as an excuse to talk about Star Wars. I'm sorry, I'm so excited about it. But do you guys really think 1313 could come back, or are we just grasping at straws here? Anything you want to talk about, let's talk in the comments below. If you guys enjoyed this, click the like button because that helps me out, that helps this show out. And if this is your first time coming around here, hi. Sorry. Subscribe though, because we put out videos every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Pizza's on me. I swear.